Yes, please.
Okay, so we have 4 questions today. The first questions was the from last teaching that we didn't enough time to answer that. So I
Yes.
will that question first.
Mhm.
When we have only been practicing meditation for a few minutes, many thoughts often arise in my mind, or I become sleepy. What should I do in that situation?
Yes. Well, the first principle is you should not follow the thoughts, you should follow the breath. When you follow the breath, you cannot follow the thoughts. When you follow the thoughts, the breath will not be clear. And when the breath is not clear, then you will be sleeping, because you can only practice meditation with a clear object. Nobody can practice meditation with an object which is not clear. Neither shamatha nor vipassana is possible when the object is blurred. And when the object is blurred, it means the mind is not clear. When the object is clear, it means the mind is clear. And we have explained the mind is clear because attention is stable. And the job of making attention stable is mindfulness. Mindfulness is what makes the attention stable. And when attention is stable, mind will be stable. When the mind is stable, the breath cannot be blurred because the mind is clear. Hmm? So, support of all the phenomena is the mind. There is no phenomena without the mind. And since you are meditating on the breath, so when the breath becomes clear, the mind will be clear. When the breath is not clear, mind will not be clear. So the first step in meditation on breath is to develop mindfulness of the breath. And this mindfulness of the breath in Chinese tradition is called counting of the breath, shu si. You have to uh, count the breath to make it clear. So in breath, out breath 1, in breath, out breath 2, in breath, out breath 3, in breath, out breath 4. Then, according to Tibetan tradition, if you can keep your mind on the breath for 21 in breath and out breath, that means you are making actually progress. So you give yourself a test. Can you keep your mind on the breath for 21 in breath and out breath? So wherever you feel in breath and out breath, there you pay your attention with firm mind. The firm mind is because of firm attention. So please keep this in mind and keep on trying, because we can only progress when we keep on trying. When we don't keep on trying, we will not progress. Okay, next question.
So next question is, may I ask what the best time of day is to meditate? Should we set a fixed time for meditation every day? For beginner,
Yes.
how long should each meditation session be?
Okay. So the best time for meditation, according to Indian tradition, is the time when the day becomes night and when the night becomes day. This is called Brahma Muhurta, the best time. Brahma means the best. So that is the best time. When we wake up, we can, if we sleep, we can take a coffee, a very good Vietnamese coffee. Today, we just went to buy in the in the shop nearby. So you drink Vietnamese coffee, and then you just concentrate with a clear mind on in-breath and out-breath. Then the second best time is evening, when the night is approaching. This is also the passage time in in Tibetan tradition. This is also the passage time is the best time. So if you during the day find the time, then very wonderful. Any time for meditation is good time, should not be wasted if the object is clear. So now making the object clear is the job of meditation. We cannot really go deep into meditation with an object which is not clear. Whether you follow the images of the mind or whether you follow one image, if the image is not clear, if the sensation is not clear of the object, then you will not feel interested in meditation. When the sensation of the breath is clear, then you become interested because you are experiencing a clarity. And the experience of clarity is necessary for meditation. When there is no clarity, the mind goes somewhere else, either following the thoughts or thinking, half asleep. And this is not a good condition. So the first job of a meditator is to control the tendency of the mind to think. If the mind is thinking, you have to apply will. If the mind is running away from the object, you have to apply concentration. And the skillful management of concentration and will is the key to meditation. This is, you should be clear about it by getting the habit of meditation. Habit of meditation is the habit of working with a subtle mind, subtle object, and subtle sensation, which is due to manipulating the object, not letting the mind think and not letting the mind be distracted. When it lasts for a while, then you will become very interested in meditation, no boredom, because the object will become clear. So give yourself a test how long you can stay with a clear object and prolong this time. Whatever we do, effectively, we need motivation. If your motivation is strong, you will disregard the difficulties and continue meditating. The habit of meditation is, according to all wise men, the best habit one can develop in life. And our mind, according to Indian philosophy, is just habit. But most of our habits are not very good habits in the sense that they are lead either to distraction, to the agitated mind, or to the non-clear mind, lethargy, thinking mind. So the thinking mind and excited mind, they are the enemies of meditation. One has to recognize them and deal with them accordingly. With the thinking mind, we use will, effort. With a distracted mind, we use concentration and enjoyment. When you enjoy what you're doing, that means your mind can easily become concentrated. Okay, so that is the second question. Third question, please.
Okay, I think the third question is not looks like a question, or it's just like he want to express his experience. Can I read this, or you want to
Yes,
for the fourth?
yes, please.
So he said, after practicing for some time, I have been able to increase my sitting meditation time
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes to 25 minutes. However, when I meditate, I usually go through three stages. At first, it is quite easy for me to concentrate and be aware of my breathing. In the second stage, I begin to experience dullness and drowsiness. My attention
Mm-hmm.
starts to shift to things around me. I begin to imagine things and gradually lose awareness of my breath. In the third stage, I can no longer keep my body still. It starts to sway and becomes unstable. I also tend to close my eyes unconsciously and fall into brief sleep. Maybe you can say a few
Yes.
words and then I go to
So,
the next fourth
so
question.
our mind, we have to understand very clearly. Our mind is our habit. Same like our body is expression of our habits. When we used to eat rice, then we always feel comfortable with rice. When we not used to eat rice, when we eat rice and we only know bread and noodles, then rice is something very strange, and we don't appreciate the taste. But when we get used to rice, then the rice becomes supreme for chasing away hunger and for making the body comfortable because it's easy to digest. So, meditation is also a habit. In the beginning, we are not used, so it's like experiencing something new. So, we have to have strong motivation because when we experience something new, our mind goes to what we are used to experience and does not stay with that which is new in our experience. But when the experience of meditation becomes clear, then the mind feels very comfortable with meditation. It does not want to leave meditation because it feels very meditation is very clear, very peaceful. And everybody wants peace. Nobody wants to be disturbed. Nobody wants to be dull. Who wants to be disturbed and who wants to be dull? Such a person does not exist. So, when we have this experience of dullness and of the uh, distraction, of excitement, that means we need meditation. That is a medicine. That is the best medicine. No better medicine. And the older we become, the more we need this meditation because it is a medicine for everything, for mind, for body. Hmm? Mind and body is also connected. When the mind is strong, we can tolerate easily the uncomfortable sensation. In the older we become, the more uncomfortable sensation we will have. And then meditation is like wonder. But when we don't practice, when we don't have habit, then in old age it is more difficult to learn. But when we have the habit, in old age the meditation will ripen and the mind becomes peaceful in all situations. And that is what makes meditation the supreme medicine. That's why in Indian tradition, the Buddha is called Vaidya Raja. He is the king of medical men because he is the supreme master of meditation. And meditation can cure all diseases because meditation leads to peace, and peace can cure all troubles of body and mind. Okay, so next question.
The fourth question is, could you please advise me on a method to help me stay focused on the breath for a longer period during meditation and prevent wandering thoughts from arising?
Okay,
I sit when I
very wonderful question.
yeah, when I sit in
Yes,
meditation,
sorry.
when I sit in meditation, after only a few minutes, I begin to feel boredom,
Yes, yes,
want
yes.
want to stand up. What should I do in such situation?
So this is a chance to start
So
explaining what
this is the
I
last question.
wanted to.
This is the last question. After that, then you
So,
can start your
so
meditation.
this is very useful for everybody. Now I will explain the stages of meditation on the breath, so that you become very clear what you are going to experience and how you will advance in your meditation, and how when you advance with your meditation you will develop wisdom, and how through wisdom you can solve all problems, because according to Buddhism all problems all are due to ignorance, and all the happiness is due to wisdom. And the meditation is the tool of wisdom. Without meditation, nobody can get a deep wisdom. Impossible. So, how the meditation on the breath is advised the best meditation, because the object is always with us. We don't need to search for it. We don't need to uh, look for it. It is there, right there, in front of us, in front of our nose, in front of our belly. And so we are always connected with breath. As long as we live, we are breathing. But in order to meditate, we have to stay with the breathing. So the first stage in meditation is called counting the breath. In Chinese, shu xi, in Sanskrit, ganana. We have to count the breath. By counting the breath, we can stay with the breath. When we pay attention to other objects, then the breath we will lose, because we have not been counting it. Counting it means experiencing it. When we experience breath, all other objects are in background. And this is the best habit one can have in life. When we have mindfulness, whatever object we pay attention to, even study, even our work, even sweeping, even brushing the teeth, all other objects go into the background and mind becomes very energetic, very sharp and wise. What means wise? Wise means beneficial. So we are not concerned with other things. Therefore, the thing we are doing right now is done well. If we concerned with other things, the thing we are doing right now is not experienced clearly. So meditation is not only for successful attainment of liberation, but it is for success in daily life, because without ability to concentrate on what we're doing, without a firm attention, mindfulness means firm attention, because we are remembering the object of our attention. That means mindfulness. When we don't remember the object of our attention, automatically the mind will go somewhere else, or it will think. It will think, so all kinds of images, ideas will appear, and we forget what is object of our attention. Now, this meditation is called Anapanasati because the object of your sati, of your memory, of your mindfulness is the process of in-breath and out-breath. This process of in-breath and out-breath will appear to you according to the attention you're giving to it. If your attention to it is not clear, then the object will not be clear, even though it is always there. But if you pay firm attention to it, the object, the in-breath and out-breath will become clear. When it remains clear, it will become more and more satisfying object. And when it becomes more and more satisfying object, it will become more and more clear object. Because the happiness in meditation brings the sublimation of the sensation of the breath. When you meditate on the breath and stay with the breath will become more and more subtle. When it becomes more and more subtle, your mind does not want to go anywhere else because it is happy just breathing in and breathing out. What a wonderful conditioning. You don't need to do anything, just breathe in and breathe out mindfully. So this is a first stage. When you can breathe in and breathe out mindfully, then you can deepen your meditation by following the in-breath and out-breath without wanting it to be something. You just follow it from beginning to the end, no matter whether the breath is long or whether the breath is short. You just follow it from beginning to the end and from end to the beginning. The beginning is usually at the nostrils, and the end is at the belly, and from the end back to the nostrils, out breath. Then the in breath is cooling, the out breath is warming. You follow this movement with attention, then the breath will become more and more comfortable, more and more subtle. Then your mind will become more and more clear, and your attention, your mindfulness will do the job. Not will, not effort, but mindfulness will do the job. When the mindfulness does the job, everything becomes more subtle. When the effort makes the job, when the will do the job, then naturally you will not feel comfortable. You can only feel comfortable when mindfulness does the job. And mindfulness brings steadiness to attention, and steadiness of attention brings steadiness of mind. And steadiness of mind is steadiness of sensation, steadiness of perception, which are the main content of the mind. And you just feel happy and fully contented, just breathing in and breathing out. Then you don't need to search anything. Then when the mind becomes subtle, then it can settle down on the mind, on the image of the breath. This image of the breath actually is created by the steady mind. The dull mind or diverted mind cannot make a steady image of the breath. Only the steady mind can make the steady image of the breath. When the mind then settles down on this steady image of the breath, then you can learn the more and more subtle stages of meditation, more and more happiness in just breathing in and breathing out. So you have in shamatha, that is in the art of appeasement. First, we have to appease the mind. Then we can see the content of our experience clearly. Seeing the content of our experience clearly, that is vipassana. So first, the mind has to be appeased to see clearly. If it is not appeased, it cannot see clearly. And when it sees clearly, it is vipassana. So first, how mind will become appeased? Because it stays with the same object. If it runs according to what it hears, what it smells, what it tastes, what it feels with the body, what it touches, then it cannot be stable. Impossible. We can only do what is possible. So it can only become stable when it stays with the same object, in breath, out breath. Then when it becomes stable on that object, in breath and out breath, then that object can become subtle object. When the object becomes a subtle, the mind becomes subtle, sensation becomes subtle, perception becomes subtle, then the mind does not want to go away. It will protect you. If your own mind does not protect you, who will protect you? We are all going to become old. We are all going to face sickness. We are all going to face unfriendly people. We are all going to face some troubles, especially if you're traveling around in a country like India, facing a lot of troubles. Then unless your mind protects you, you will just follow the troubles. And when you follow the troubles, your mind will become your enemy. And when the mind becomes your enemy, then how will you attain peace? So that's why I propose to teach you the meditation on breath to get rid of the non-steadiness of mind, and then teach you meditation on love to get the tolerance. These two, tolerance and stable sensation, they are the root, the key to peace. No peace without steady attention and tolerance. Right. So learning meditation is learning tolerance, Ren. We have some situations when we start learning meditation which are not very pleasant. Our mind, as you have noticed, will want to go somewhere else. That's why it is not clear, so it sinks. And when it sinks, then it will not work smoothly. It will use just will, not wisdom, to stay with the breath. And so this is the samsara. This is a trouble of the meditator. Either the mind sinks or the mind is excited and goes somewhere else. These are the two enemies of meditation you have to become familiar with. Unless you become familiar with this, how will you remove them? So it does not mean it's only bad when your mind is sinking and when your mind is going somewhere else. Learn from this. What is the cause? What is the cause? Non-stable attention. What is stable attention? Mindfulness. So unless we have mindfulness, anything we do, we cannot do well. In a process of learning, overcoming the distress, suffering, and also in daily life, whatever we do with unstable attention, we cannot do well. When we study, we will not remember anything. When we enjoy, we will also, this enjoyment will be very superficial and we will grasp for it. Therefore, we will be frustrated. Why? Because mind has no ability to stabilize. And this is in our time, now in Vietnam also, in Europe also, the life has become more comfortable. So people become very lazy. And because they become very lazy, they just grasp for superficial things, don't want to go deep. Hmm? In the ancient times, the people did not have time to follow the internet and this and that and do many, many things. Life was very hard. Now, life is not so hard, but the mind becomes hard. Mind becomes not our friend, but our enemy. And this problem we can only solve by meditating correctly. When the mind settles on the object and becomes peaceful, we can investigate the causes of uh, the dukkha or suffering. Why we suffer. When we understand why we suffer, then we know how to relieve suffering. When we don't understand why we suffer, how we will relieve suffering. And to understand why we suffer, we have to learn to have peaceful mind, appease the mind. And when we combine peaceful mind with wisdom, then we can live a satisfied life. Even when we don't have money, we will not be eaten by our problems, even if we don't have superior position, we will not be greedy. Even if we not famous, we will not be disappointed because we have found some peace in ourselves. So now You have learned these steps of meditation, remember them, first counting, then following, then placing. When you place your mind on the object, mind becomes appeased. But for placing mind on the object, you have to remove the tendency of the mind to thinking and to excitement. When the mind is thinking, it loses clarity. When the mind is excited, it cannot distinguish anything. And it just follows whatever impulse comes from outside. And when the mind is outside, it cannot concentrate. When the mind is dull, it also cannot concentrate. Only when the mind is has stable attention to the meditation object, which is in a way becomes a mental object. Whatever is subtle object, clear object, is a mental object. The eye itself cannot have a clear object. The ears also cannot have a clear object. It is a mind which makes the visual object clear, the hearing object clear. It is the mind which makes the sensation, bodily sensation clear. It is a mind which makes the smell clear, the taste clear. And without clarity, without clarity of mind, whatever we do, we will not find the satisfaction in it. And the clarity of mind comes from meditation. So now let us just do it. 20 minutes, no? Or 25 minutes, okay?
Yes, 25 minutes is okay. Thank you.
So remember, you stay in the
Everyone,
stable
please
bodily posture.
stay in the meditation posture now. Thank you.
I am sitting on the chairs. That's why I plant my feet on the ground and do like a monkey grip with the feet so that the spine straightens. When I use the legs to straighten the spine, and I also use the hands to straighten the spine. The limbs, the job of the limbs in meditation is to straighten the spine. When the spine is straight, it will resist the tendency to think and resist the tendency to go away from the meditation object. Then I put my tongue on the behind the upper teeth. I do my eyes. I slightly close, not by effort, but naturally I let them close, but not better not close completely, so that I see something. There is some light outside. And then I just pay attention to the breath. In breath, one, out breath, one. Wherever I can feel it. If you cannot feel it clearly around the nose, then pay attention to the rising and falling of the belly. But best is to keep it around the nostrils. In breath, out breath, one. In breath, out breath, two. In breath, out breath, three. In breath, out breath, four. So you continue. If you can keep to 21, it means you're making progress. But normally you count until 10. In breath, out breath, one. In breath, out breath, two. Until 10. And then you start again. Or you can do in-breath, out-breath up to 10, and then in-breath, out-breath from 10 to 1. If you can stay with a breath from 1 to 10 and from 10 to 1, that means you are really making progress, not getting diverted. Then the mind will stabilize because attention is stabilized. When the mind is stabilized, it does not want to go away from the breath. It wants to go away from the breath because it is not stabilized. And when it is stabilized, then you can let go. If it is not stabilized, you cannot let go. And because you cannot let go, you have tension in the body. When you have tension in the body, it means you are not yet familiar with meditation. Then you can keep attention on the breath. You can just follow the breath from beginning to the end, from end to the beginning. Usually when you relax, the breath becomes longer. When you can stay with a longer breath, concentration improves. When concentration improves, the breath can become shorter and more subtle. When you can detach from this more subtle breath, then you can enter into deep states of peace. When you cannot hold attention at the nostrils, first start with a more easy sensation to follow, rising and falling of the abdomen. It's easy to follow. When you can follow it for a longer time, then mind will become more concentrated and you go to the nostril and follow each breath from beginning to the end, from end to the beginning, from the nostrils to the belly, from the belly to the nostrils. Be aware, in-breath is cool, out-breath is warm. Be aware, the breath is subtle or is gross. Why is it gross? Because you are using gross attention, gross will to stay with it. When you're using subtle will, subtle attention, subtle differentiation, naturally the breath becomes more subtle. When the breath becomes more subtle, it becomes more satisfying. When it becomes more satisfying, nobody wants to leave the object which brings him contentment, satisfaction. This is a secret. And when you are contented, you can let go. If you're not contented, you cannot let go. This is the secret of meditation.
Time up now.
So let us do the transference of merit practice, Kuityang. I recite first in Pali, then in Chinese, then in English. Eta vata chame sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Eta vata chame sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Eta vata chame sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Aga satta chabumata deva naga mahitika punyang tanganumoditva chiranakantu lokasasana. Aga satta chabumata deva naga mahitika punyang tanganumoditva chiranakantu desana. Aga satta chabumata deva naga mahitika punyang tanganumoditva chiranakantu tumampala. Devo vasatu kalena sasa sampati hetucha pito bhavatu lokocha raja bhavatu dhammiko. 愿你自功德不计一切，我等一众生皆共成佛道。May the merits of this practice spread to all beings, so that we attain the state of perfection. Om Mito. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Cảm ơn. And see you next week. Huh?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Thank you, Dhammadipa. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Dhammadipa. Thank you, Rinpoche.